Top 10 highest paid race car drivers for the 2026 season. Let's be honest, most of us complain about fuel prices. We watch the little numbers on the pump climb and feel a soul-crushing weight in our chests. But these guys, they burn high-octane fuel for a living, and they get paid tens of millions of dollars just to show up. While you're calculating how to stretch your tank until payday, somewhere in Monte Carlo, a Formula One driver is casually earning more in a single pit stop than most people make in a decade. And the best part? They're probably still over the radio complaining that their tire strategy is rubbish. Welcome to the elite, gravity-defying world of speed, skill, and absolutely ridiculous bank balances. This isn't just about fast cars anymore. This is about fast money. From teenage prodigies who couldn't legally drive to the grocery store, to 40-year-old legends who own entire aviation companies, these drivers have turned adrenaline into a global financial empire. Today, we are stripping back the helmet visors and looking at the balance sheets. We are counting down the top 10 highest-paid race car drivers for the 2026 season, from the entry-level millionaires to the undisputed king of the grid. Buckle up. Hit that subscribe button and check your mirrors because this list moves fast. 10. Lance Stroll. Age, 27. Citizenship, Canadian. Estimated net worth, $50 million. Fun fact, he was a world-class skier who almost went pro before choosing the track. Kicking us off at number 10 is a man who proves that in racing, timing is everything. Lance Stroll is often the subject of intense Padre memes because his father, Lawrence Stroll, owns the Aston Martin team. But let's look at the 2026 reality. Lance has survived a decade in the most cutthroat sport on Earth. The money talk. In 2026, Lance is pulling in a cool $13.5 million in total earnings. While that's small compared to our number one spot, his lifestyle is anything but. He grew up in the ultra-luxury world of Geneva and Canada, and his $50 million net worth is just a baseline. It doesn't even account for the multi-billion-dollar family empire behind him. The what if? Imagine being so talented that your plan B was being an Olympic-level skier. Lance chose the 300-kilometer-per-hour corners of Silverstone over the Black Diamond slopes of the Alps. Either way, the man was destined to spend his life moving faster than humanly intended. 9. Denny Hamlin. Age, 45. Citizenship, American. Estimated net worth, $65 million. Fun fact, he co-owns 23XI Racing with the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan. Moving from the global circuits of F1 to the high banks of NASCAR, we find Denny Hamlin. At 45 years old, Denny is the elder statesman on this list, proving that longevity is the ultimate wealth builder. The Empire. Denny isn't just driving the number 11 Toyota, he's a mogul. In 2026, his earnings sit around $14 million, but his real flex is his partnership with Michael Jordan. Co-owning 23XI Racing means Denny has a seat at the table with the most powerful brand in sports history. The longevity. Most athletes are looking for a rocking chair at 45. Denny is looking for a checkered flag and a higher ROI. He represents the business class of racing, where every lap led is another dollar added to a legendary portfolio. 8. Kyle Busch. Age, 40. Citizenship, American. Estimated net worth, $80 million. Fun fact, he holds the record for most wins across NASCAR's top 3 national series. If racing had a final boss, it would be Kyle Busch. They call him Rowdy for a reason. He's the guy you love to hate until he's driving for your team. The dominance. With a 2026 income of $16.9 million, Busch is the highest paid driver in American stock car racing. Why? Because he wins, period. He has more trophies than most small museums spanning the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series. The brand. Kyle has turned his villain persona into a goldmine. Through his energy drink partnerships and the Rowdy brand, he's built an $80 million cushion that allows him to speak his mind, even if it costs him a few fines along the way. 7. George Russell. Age, 28. Citizenship, British. Estimated net worth, $20 million to $34 million. Fun fact, he famously used a PowerPoint presentation to convince Mercedes to hire him. George Russell is the corporate assassin of the grid. While other kids were out karting, George was apparently perfecting his slide transitions and bullet point strategy. The rise. In 2026, George is no longer the new kid. He's a leader at Mercedes, earning a massive $26 million this year. He represents the hyper-intellectual side of modern racing. He doesn't just drive the car, he analyzes the data, presents the solution, and then executes the overtake. The evolution. From his humble beginnings at Williams to becoming a multi-millionaire face of Mercedes-Benz, George's rise is a masterclass in professional branding. He's proof that if you want the job, sometimes you just have to show them the data. Number 6. Fernando Alonso. Age, 45. Citizenship, Spanish. Estimated net worth, $260 million to $400 million. Fun fact, he's a professional-level card magician. Fernando Alonso is a glitch in the matrix. At 45, he's still making 20-year-olds look like amateurs. He's the ultimate racer's racer. The magic. Fernando's 2026 salary is $26.5 million, but his net worth is staggering, reaching up to $400 million. He's been earning top-tier salaries since the early 2000s. He's the only man on this list who can lose a race on Sunday and then literally make your watch disappear with a card trick on Monday. The legend. He's a two-time world champion who's outlasted almost every rival he's ever faced. Fernando isn't just racing for the money anymore. He's racing because he's addicted to the hunt. And the hunt pays very, very well. 5. Charles Leclerc. Age, 28. Citizenship, Monegasque. Estimated net worth, $50 million to $92 million. Fun fact, he's a chart-topping pianist on Spotify. If James Bond were a race car driver, he'd be Charles Leclerc. Born and raised in the shadow of the Monte Carlo track, Charles is the literal prince of Monaco in the eyes of the Tifosi. The artist. Earning $34 million in 2026, Charles is the heart of Ferrari. But he's not just a driver, he's an artist. He spends his off time composing melancholy piano pieces that have millions of streams. The Ferrari legacy. Being a Ferrari driver is the highest honor in motorsport, and it comes with the highest expectations. Charles carries the weight of an entire nation on his shoulders, and he does it with a level of grace and style that makes him a marketing dream for brands like Giorgio Armani and Richard Mille. 4. Oscar Piastri. Age, 24. Citizenship, Australian. Estimated net worth, $10 million to $13 million. Fun fact, the first driver born in the 21st century to win an F1 Grand Prix. The Iceman of the new generation. While most 24-year-olds are still figuring out their LinkedIn profiles, Oscar is cashing checks for $37.5 million a year. The Contract Masterclass. How did a 24-year-old get to number 4? Performance bonuses. Oscar's 2026 contract at McLaren is built on ladder clauses. Because he keeps winning and hitting podiums, his salary has ballooned far beyond his base pay. The future. He is the first driver born in the 21st century to win a race, signaling a total regime change in the sport. He's calm, he's calculated, and he's becoming very, very wealthy, very, very fast. 3. Lando Norris. Age, 26.
Citizenship, British, Belgian, holding dual citizenship.
Estimated net worth, $37 million to $80 million. Fun fact, he founded Quadrant, a massive gaming and apparel empire. Lando Norris is the king of the new school. He understood something the older drivers didn't. The internet is the most powerful engine in the world, the payday. As the 2025 world champion, Lando's 2026 earnings have skyrocketed to $57.5 million.
He is the highest paid Belgian driver currently on the grid.
The digital empire. Through his brand, Quadrant, Lando has tapped into the Gen Z and Alpha markets in a way no driver ever has. He isn't just a guy who drives cars. He's a streamer, a fashion icon, and a lifestyle mogul. He's turned being relatable into an $80 million empire.
2. Lewis Hamilton.
Age, 41.
Citizenship, British. Estimated net worth $450 million to $500 million. Fun fact, he is the first and only block driver in F1 history. Sir Lewis Hamilton. The name carries more weight than any trophy. He is a 7-time world champion and a global icon of social change, fashion, and music. The Ferrari move. In 2026, Lewis is in the middle of his historic stint with Ferrari. His base salary is a staggering $70 million, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. His endorsements with Tommy Hilfiger, Monster Energy, and IWC make him one of the wealthiest athletes on the planet, period. The legacy. Lewis broke the glass ceiling of a sport that wasn't built for him. He has used his wealth to fund Mission 44, a foundation dedicated to diversity in STEM and motorsport. He's not just chasing a 10th championship, he's chasing a better world, and he's doing it from the cockpit of a scarlet Ferrari. 1. Max Verstappen. Age, 28. Citizenship, Dutch, born in Belgium. Estimated net worth, $200 million to $280 million. Fun fact, he was a Formula One driver before he was legally allowed to drive a car on public roads. And finally, the undisputed king of the hill, Max Verstappen. The dominance. Max is the highest paid driver in the world for 2026, taking home $76 million in a single year. That is roughly $3.1 million per race weekend. The machine. Max is a pure racer. He doesn't care about the fashion shows or the piano compositions. He wants to win. He started his F1 career at 17, so young that his father had to drive him to the track because he didn't have a road license. The wealth. While his net worth is currently lower than Hamilton's due to Lewis's 20-year head start, Max's earning velocity is higher than anyone in history. He is the gold standard of modern speed. He doesn't just race, he controls the sport. From the frozen ski slopes of Canada to the high-stakes card tricks of Spain, these 10 men have proven that speed doesn't just win trophies, it wins empires. But behind the private jets, the $100,000 watches, and the champagne showers is a level of discipline that would break most people. At 300 kilometers per hour, there is no room for good enough. There is only greatness. Now it's your turn. Who do you think is the greatest value for money on this list? Is Max worth $76 million, or is Lando Norris the real steal of the century? Drop a comment below and let us know who you're rooting for in the 2026 season. If you loved this high-speed breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more elite rankings, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next drop. Because in this world, if you're not first, you're last. We'll see you at the finish line.